Hello, Sagittarius. There are two people very close to you setting a trap. And the most dangerous thing isn't the trap itself, but the innocence of a Sagittarius who always believes in the light within others. They didn't come to stand beside you. They came to dim the flame that's about to ignite your destiny. In this video, you will discover who they are, why they fear the real light in you, and why a Sagittarius like you can never be contained. Comment below. I am ready to embrace my great destiny. Because it's not just a declaration, it's a signal you're sending to the universe to protect your soul from those trying to manipulate it. And if any of this resonates with you, don't forget to like and share this video, because your light deserves to be seen, especially in times when Sagittarians like you are being misunderstood the most. But who are the two people setting a trap for you? And why can't they accept the freedom you carry in your blood? Something strange has been happening lately to those carrying Sagittarius energy. A strange sensation, as if someone is watching you yet always smiling. As if something is wrong, but you have no proof. Only your intuition, that quiet voice inside, sending you a clear signal. You're being set up. And you won't hear this from anyone else. No one will say it out loud. No one wants you to wake up. Because when a Sagittarius awakens, no one can control them anymore. Mercury is currently in retrograde in Gemini, the sign opposite Sagittarius. When this happens, not only are conversations misunderstood, but double-faced people begin to reveal themselves. Truths you didn't see because you trusted too much are now coming into view. Astrology calls this the mirror of the mind period, when manipulators often hide behind the mask of closeness. It's no coincidence that your seventh house, the house of partnerships, unions, and contracts, is being powerfully activated right now. The universe is warning you about two kinds of people. One who manipulates with emotion, and another who suffocates with reason. This person once made you feel special. They remembered your birthday. They cried when you were hurt. They defended you in front of others, but planted doubt in your heart behind your back. They didn't hit you. They didn't insult you. They simply made you feel guilty, just for being true to yourself. You've changed. You're too idealistic, too dreamy. No one loves you as much as I do. Sound familiar, Sagittarius? I once loved someone like that. They never told me I was wrong. They just made me doubt myself. I began apologizing for the light in me, apologizing for my dreams, apologizing for not being easier to control. And that's when I realized I wasn't loved for who I was. I was kept for how easy I was to control. The other person doesn't speak much, but they'll make you feel foolish for trusting your intuition. They believe in logic and see emotions as something to be ashamed of. They're never mad at you, they just gently remind you. They don't stop you, they're just protecting you from poor decisions. You're a Sagittarius. You live by intuition and ideals. You're not a machine. But beside this person, you were forced to shrink, to bend your soul to fit the mold they called maturity. There are cages with no locks, because you've been convinced you should stay inside. Not because someone forced you, but because they made you believe you couldn't survive outside. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and no longer recognized yourself? I once did. I can't even remember the last time I laughed genuinely. I began dimming pieces of myself, just to fit into a relationship I once thought was love. I smiled because I was afraid of losing someone, but in the process, I lost myself. Have you ever felt suffocated in the very relationship that once made you happiest? Have you ever dared to speak about it as a way to heal? Write it down, because sometimes, just by speaking it aloud, you break free from most of the trap already. Because your light makes them feel hollow. Because your freedom reminds them of the parts in themselves that have already died. Because you live from the heart, and they live from fear. They don't want to destroy you. They just want you to shrink so they don't have to feel so lost. But the terrifying part isn't them, it's you, if you stop trusting your intuition. Because when a Sagittarius begins to doubt themselves, that's when they become easy to manipulate. You were born with a soul that cannot be imprisoned. Sagittarius was never meant to be programmed to please. You were created to blaze trails, to lead, to speak the truth, even when everyone else goes silent. And if you're still watching this video, perhaps the universe is trying to pull you out of something you can no longer clearly see. If you feel like this video has spoken something deep inside you, click like and share it with someone who may need to hear it too. Because maybe you just saved another Sagittarius from the very trap you once fell into. There are two people setting a trap, but the truth is, they can't succeed unless you cooperate with your silence. And now, I want to guide you into a deeper truth. It's not just about the trap, it's about the energy inside you that has already begun to break through every limit. Next, we'll uncover what makes a Sagittarius completely uncontrollable, even when the whole world tries to cage them. You were not born to make the world comfortable. You were never meant to be tamed. If you are a Sagittarius, you'll understand there's always a part of you reaching toward the horizon, not to escape, but to find something greater, wider, truer. Astrology has long called Sagittarius the soul pilgrim, guided by Jupiter, the planet of truth, faith, and expansion. You carry within you the element of fire, but it's not a fire of destruction. It's the torch of knowledge, freedom, and sacred light. You don't just live to exist, you live to understand, to go far, to discover the real meaning of everything, even pain. You are not a soul that needs a map. Your heart is the compass. And your dream is the one thing no one can ever take away. Not everyone will understand you, and that's exactly why they try to control you. I once loved someone deeply, and because I loved them, I started shrinking. I tried to slow down, to be pleasing, to be less wild, just to make them stay. I hoped that if I was gentle enough, reasonable enough, close enough to what they expected, they wouldn't leave. But then I came to a very painful realization. They loved control more than they loved me. Freedom is not rebellion. Freedom is honesty, with your soul's calling, even if the price is loneliness. And I chose to walk away, not because I wanted to give up, but because I wanted to keep myself. The world needs people like you, not to obey, but to awaken. Have you ever noticed that every time you speak the truth, the energy in the room changes? Every time you walk away, people start reflecting on themselves? Because you are not just one person. You are a mirror of courage. Have you ever had to choose between freedom and a relationship? And when you chose yourself, what happened after? Share it in the comments, because maybe your words will become the light that helps another confused soul find their way out. This is the scariest part. When they realize they can't cage you, can't control you, they won't stop. They'll shift strategy. They'll start planting doubt. You're too idealistic. You're not realistic at all. If you keep flying around like that, no one will ever truly stay with you. And just like that, the arrow turns inward. No one can imprison you, but if you start believing you're the problem, you'll lock yourself away without anyone doing a thing. That's why you must never doubt the sacred voice inside you, Sagittarius. You were born to lead. You might be the first to walk away, the first to question, the first to live authentically. And because of that, you'll also be the first to be resisted. But you'll also be the first to open a door that so many others will one day walk through. You are not selfish for choosing your own path. You're simply braver than those who stayed in a place they no longer belonged. If you feel like this video has spoken a truth inside you, leave a comment. I wasn't born to be possessed. I was born to be the light for others. Click like. Share this video so that other souls like you can hear the call to awaken. But why does your light frighten them so much? Could it be that they've seen something in you that you haven't yet seen in yourself? Not every trap makes a sound. Some are wrapped in sweet words, warm eyes, and sacrifices labeled for your own good. But when the moon moves through the 12th house in your chart, the house of the subconscious, dreams, and hidden enemies, your soul begins to sense that something is off. There's no clear evidence. No one has said anything cruel. But somehow, your light feels dimmer. The 12th house is where things hide, not in darkness, but behind the veil of I just want what's best for you. When the moon passes through here, Sagittarians become more intuitive than ever, but also more susceptible to emotional illusions if they're not careful. You start to feel something is wrong, but you're afraid to name it. You smile, but feel empty inside. You sit with someone and leave completely drained. You feel utterly exhausted after just one conversation with a certain person. You constantly feel guilty, but can't explain why. You begin to question yourself, even though no one has openly criticized you. You have to shrink yourself just to avoid making them uncomfortable. These are the signs of subtle energy manipulation. I once laughed in the middle of a crowded party, a glass of wine in my hand, soft golden light across my face, but my soul was weeping, and no one noticed. I had learned how to pretend, because I was afraid that if I were honest, they would call me too sensitive. I was afraid that if I spoke my truth, I'd lose the very love I believed was my safe place. But then, I realized something. No one should ever call you too much, just because you dared to be real. Some people don't need to scream or threaten to make you collapse. They just need to make you turn against yourself. You begin to shrink. You self-censor every feeling. You erase yourself, piece by piece, just to hold on to what you thought was love. But the truth is, real love never makes you feel small. Have you ever felt that way? That feeling of being beside someone, and slowly you begin to lose trust in your own voice? Share that experience in the comments below. Because maybe you're not just healing yourself, you're helping someone else finally name what they've been too afraid to say aloud. You are a bearer of fire, and fire was not made to suffer in silence. Fire was made to light the way, to transform, to burn through the lies. You were not created to be a backdrop for someone else's comfort in a world built on pretending. And above all else, never. There will be times when your soul whispers, enough. And if you listen, you'll rise, without waiting for an apology, without needing anyone to validate your pain. The moment you stand up, you've already saved yourself. If this is speaking to something deep inside you, leave a comment. I have heard the voice of my soul, and this time I will not ignore it. Like the video, share it. Let the light you just rediscovered be the spark for someone else to find their way out. No one can control a Sagittarius, but if they can't control you from the outside, they'll try to make you question yourself from the inside. So, how do you break the trap without losing yourself? This isn't a story about winning. This is about someone who once died in silence, then chose to live again, even knowing they might lose everything. Maybe you're hearing this on a very quiet night. Maybe you've just left a conversation feeling hollow and don't know why. Maybe you're in a relationship where you no longer feel safe to breathe fully, to laugh freely. And if that's you, then this part is for you. Mars, the planet of action, is entering the 9th house in your Sagittarius chart. The house of philosophy, truth, faith, and awakening. This is the universe ringing its bell, reminding you, do not stay silent. Even if your hands still shake, even if your voice still breaks, speak the truth. Not to be believed, but so your soul knows you did not abandon it. You don't need to scream. You don't need to prove anyone wrong. You just need to be honest and clear. Start here. Write down the patterns that drain your energy. Who leaves you empty every time you see them? Who made you stop dreaming? Who made you apologize for being yourself? Write it down. Face it, see it clearly. Don't let sadness distort the truth. Don't let kindness become the excuse for staying hurt. And then, gently, tell the universe, or whisper to God, I choose to return to the light you placed in me. I do not choose to fight. I choose the truth. I do not choose to hate. I choose to be free. And I do not choose to carry what keeps me from myself. I once held on to a relationship for 5 years, not because I still loved, but because I was terrified that if I walked away, I'd be the one who left. Afraid of being called ungrateful, afraid to hurt them, afraid they'd call me selfish. So I stayed until one day, I could no longer recognize the reflection in my own eyes. I forgave them, not because they deserved it, but because I didn't want to carry their wound for the rest of my life. Forgiveness is not the erasure of memory. It is the choice to no longer let that memory control your present. Not everyone understands that. They think forgiveness is weakness. But to a Sagittarius, forgiveness is one of the bravest acts you can ever make. You are not the enemy of anyone. You are simply someone who longs to live without dimming your light. There were nights when I looked up at the sky and whispered just one sentence. Dear God, please don't make me pretend anymore. And if you're still listening by now, I believe You may have whispered the same words, even if only in silence. Have you ever forgiven someone not because they were sorry, but because you didn't want to carry hate in your soul any longer? Share it. You don't have to name names. You only need to be honest. And maybe you'll realize you're not alone anymore. Write it down as a ritual. I forgive and I return to myself. Or, I no longer need anyone to understand me as long as I don't lose myself. Let one line in the comments become your declaration of liberation, not just for you, but for the many other Sagittarius souls fighting silent battles every single day. If these words are touching something deep inside you, please share this video. You never know, someone might be waiting for these exact words to take their first step into freedom. And you know something? When you finally walk out, no longer clinging, no longer blaming, no longer seeking approval, that's when the miracle begins. Not outside, but within you. Not every message comes in spoken words. Some arrive only in silence, like a soft breeze when you least expect it, like a dream that wakes you with tears even when you don't understand why. And if you are a Sagittarius, then you already know. Sacred things don't need to make sense to be real. In astrology, the full moon in Aquarius is moving into your third house, Sagittarius, the house of divine communication, fated conversations, and cosmic signs. If lately you keep hearing the same phrase, if you've been dreaming the same image for nights on end, if someone from your past suddenly reappears with an apology, pay attention. The universe is never random. What repeats is the way your soul is being awakened. No one can cage a soul chosen by God to be a guide. In Sagittarius, you are that soul, not because you're perfect, but because you've stayed true to your path, even when that path meant losing everything. I once lost friends, lost lovers, lost my voice in my own family. There were days I spoke the truth and the whole room went quiet, as if I had offended someone simply by being honest. All because I could no longer pretend. I couldn't keep nodding to things my heart no longer believed. I couldn't keep pleasing people if it meant burying my essence. And one day, I stood up with empty hands and a heart still healing. But do you know what happened next? I found peace. Not a peace handed to me, but a peace no one could take, because I had paid for it with the price of my own truth. Sometimes betrayal is not a disaster. It is a calling from the universe. You would have never walked away if life hadn't pushed you to the edge. You would have never looked back into your own soul if someone else hadn't made you question your worth. But once you made it through, you didn't just find yourself again. You became a mirror for those still wandering. Have you ever felt that betrayal was actually a disguised gift from the universe to return you to yourself? If so, write it down. It doesn't have to be long. It only has to be honest. Because what comes from truth always carries the power to heal even those who are silently watching you. If this message has meaning for you, please like and share this video. Because maybe someone out there tonight also needs a reminder like this, to find the courage to break free from the very trap you've just escaped. The universe never lets Sagittarius walk without light. And if you're standing in the middle of loss right now, please remember, you didn't lose them. You just reclaimed yourself. And for the first time in a long time, you can finally breathe without feeling guilty for being who you are. This journey is not easy, but you were never walking alone. If you've made it this far, leave a comment below. I have been returned to myself, and this time I will not abandon who I am. Let the universe know that you are ready not just to survive, but to live as a fire that nothing can extinguish. Thank you for staying with me until this very last moment. Because not everyone has the patience to listen to a journey that cannot be seen with human eyes. And even fewer have the courage to walk deep into their own soul. If you are a Sagittarius, I want you to remember this. You don't have to become someone else to be loved. You only need to hold on to your light, because that light is guiding someone else, somewhere, even if you don't know it. I know, you may still be hurting. You may still have dreams that haven't come true. You may still have questions no one has answered. But you're still walking, with trembling legs, with a heart not yet healed. And that is already a miracle. If this touched you today, please do one thing for me. Like this video, not just for the message, but as a way to affirm that you deserve healing. Share this video, not just to spread it, but because you never know who might be standing at the edge you once walked away from. And please leave a comment below. I am ready to live as the light God placed within me. Because your comment might be someone else's miracle. Thank you for not just listening, but feeling. Not just understanding, but facing yourself. Not just existing, but daring to live fully. And if you ever need a place to return to when your spirit feels shaken, come back to this video. And remember, you are Sagittarius, you are the fire, and you cannot be extinguished. From one soul walking this path with you. I'll see you in the next video.